Welcome to part 2, people. My name is Mohit, and let's understand the color stops a little more. In the last part we had seen how the color stops, whether they are mentioned in terms of percentage or pixels, allow a color to dominate more than the others. So this was how we saw that the last color, orange, actually dominated the scene, right? Just in case I would want plum to dominate, so if I increase this value out here to, let's say, a 90%, you see the preview would change radically. So let's show that up after saving the changes, and quite clearly, people, you see how the plum color has now expanded further. Alright, so through the color stops, basically you determine which color should occupy more area, and which should dominate and which should be suppressed, more or less, right? As I said, we can even use pixels out here instead of using percentages, right? Let's also look at repeating patterns, people. So if I go out here just after WebKit and insert the word repeating, and then I take up a preview, let's see how things change now. So you see it's a repeating pattern. Alrighty, and let's change these values to see what happens now. If I make it 30 and if I preview it up now, you see things change completely, but now there are tighter lines. The lines are quite tight. So if I want to make it a little smoother, what I can do is I can start with the color lime and I can end with the color lime too. So if I just insert one more color out here, let's say lime again, and let's go with a 40% out here, you see things would change a lot. So if I press F12 to preview it up in the browser, you see you can add as many colors as you want, people. There's no restriction on the number of colors that you would add. You see it smoothens out. The lines are not as tight as they used to be a while ago, right? So that is how the repeating patterns actually work. And let's remove the word repeating. Alright, let's revert back, and now, people, I'm going to show you something more. Let's say I have 10% for the lime going out here. I repeat that value for the next color, 20, alright, and then this 30 I repeat it for the next color too, 30. Let's change the color to a different color, let's say papaya. So the fourth fruit coming up, P-A-P-A-Y-A, but the name of the color is papaya whip. Alright, so I'm just adding one more color, but you see the trick that I'm using out here, 10% color stops, 30% color stops. You see what kind of an effect that it actually has on the preview. If I take up a preview now in Google Chrome after saving the changes, you'll see that the lines are now tighter. They are bound this way. The whole scenario actually changes. We do not allow at certain places the gradient to spread properly, so the lines are very tight now. So you can use this trick too. Alright, people, and just before I terminate the tutorial, let me tell you, to have Mozilla adapt to Radial gradient, just need to include the Moz prefix. For Opera it's O, for Microsoft Internet Explorer it's MS. But the bad news is that with Microsoft Internet Explorer you'll find that it's supported only in IE10 plus, and even I don't use IE10 at the moment, so that's not a good news, people. In which case we can have a fallback color, something like a background, right, and set it to, let's say, orange or whatever. Or you can even have a background image going out here. Maybe you would want to repeat it, maybe you wouldn't want to repeat it. Entirely depends on the scenario. So let's take up a preview in IE. In IE, although there are workarounds for linear gradients, there's no workaround for a radial gradient, and you have to fall back upon a color or an image. So let's preview it up in IE. Alright, there you go people, completely orange. Right, so no support out there. And yep, as we have talked about earlier, MS for IE 10 plus, MOZ for Mozilla Firefox, WebKit for web, for Safari and Chrome, and O for Opera. Alright people, so I hope you found this information useful. I hope you'll sub, I hope you'll comment, I hope you'll thumb the video up, and I'll also hope that it'll keep coming back for more and more tutorials from me, won't you? You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.